And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to WrestlePurists Worldwide. I'm your host, Ebo WrestlePurist. Better known to many of you guys as Back of Hangman. Apologize for the mild lateness on the countdown. My phone was overheating, but I'm here. I'm here. It's not the only thing overheating. We live in very, very, very hot times. Today, it is a heat wave in the East Coast. But I'm here, joined by Joe Holbert, joined by Anna DeMarco. The trio for Worldwide is back. I feel like we haven't done a show, the three of us, in a bit now. Last week, I think it was me and Anna. The week before was me and Joe. So the gang is all here, folks. We're going to be here to talk the latest in pro wrestling. We're going to talk about that John Cena Pipebomb. We will talk about what else is on this goddamn rundown? Suri is your IWGP champion. New Japan Pro Wrestling signs an Olympian. They signed Aaron Wolf to a full-time contract. We'll talk about King and Queen of the Ring. I'll give you guys some updates on All In, maybe, potentially, possibly. We'll see. But an interesting time in pro wrestling, and we're here to hang out with you guys, hopefully provide you guys a bit of escapism, some fun, and we'll go from there. So with that said, folks, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to WrestlePurists if you're not, and send in your super chats, man. Give us your takes, give us your opinions, some wrestling takes, some wrestling questions you guys would like to ask us. And while you guys get that in, I'm going to pass it over to Anna, who's wearing a John Cena t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
A burgundy John Cena t-shirt. How are you feeling today, Anna? What's going on? Talk to me.
We're back. We're simply back.
I presume you enjoyed Mr. Cena's pipe bomb on CM Punk.
I did, like when he said, "You're not a punk, you're a capitalist." I felt that. Like he cooked him,
Nice.
like it was good. I feel like it was the first thing since he turned heel, actually, the whole year that I actually enjoyed from him.
Yeah.
so
Right, well,
yeah, I mean, that moved me. I liked it. And we'll see where it goes from now.
Yeah, I liked it too. We'll get into it shortly. But there you are, repping John Cena. You got that from Brussels, right?
Hell yeah. Farewell tour.
What gave it away? But...
Was it the Belgian flag or the big Brussels written
here? Here's why.
You're so perceptive, people.
Here's where I pretend, Joe, to like be totally aware of what the Belgian flag looks like. I'm like, yeah, totally, man.
Phone was overheating, brother. Phone was overheating.
All right. Where's your John Cena shirt, Joe?
Well, I've got the this WrestlePurists, history right here, bro. The We the Ones, and I have a Barbarian figure, which is cooler than either of those things. So, yeah,
wait, you're wearing an Uso shirt?
Yeah, bro. They're coming back. They're coming back.
What's the timeline going to do when they get the New Day to 3 3/4?
I don't know what the timeline's going to be doing, but I mean, I'm ready. I've been preparing for this for 2 years now, so yeah, just get yourself ready, folks.
I like the Usos. I feel like their last run was pretty damn strong, and I don't remember what was the barrier causing it, but like I feel like people didn't properly appreciate it,
Well, that's the case with pretty much every run that happens now in wrestling. So
people don't appreciate like how good it is.
Yeah, everything's like debated, and it was definitely the most. I don't think it was the best work of their career artistically, but it was the most significant run of their career by far.
Yeah, it felt like when they unified the tag belts and won both of them, it felt like that was a concerted effort to make them a main event act. And the run they went on after that, like they were top guys, they were show openers, they main evented like every TV. It felt like in like late 2022, and they had good matches. So I do like the Usos. People unfortunately do the whole thing of like, instead of just saying the Usos are cool, it has to be like, well, are they the Briscoes and are they FTR and are they the Bucks? And it's like, well, no, but that doesn't mean you're like. It's like I don't know. I don't know.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
It's the thief of joy, man. It's the thief of joy. Is Shea Gilgeous Alexander Kobe Bryant? Well, no, but he's an NBA champion. So congratulations to him.
More on that later.
Yeah, right. But folks, guys, make sure to get those super chats in. Like I said, we will be talking about the latest things in pro wrestling. And you know what? We'll start right with it. While you guys get those super chats in, John Cena cut a promo on CM Punk on Friday, Joe. John Cena AA'd CM Punk through the Slim Jim table. And then he sat in the corner, and he was like, "Punk, while you sit there uncomfortably or whatever," and he says the opening lines to the pipe bomb, and he begins to rattle off a bunch of things at CM Punk and levies a bunch of heavy bombs in his direction. Among them is that he hates the idea of CM Punk. He said that he is jealous of him, though. He's jealous of the adulation he receives from wrestling fans. And he said that there's one thing that CM Punk is better at than him, and that's being a bullshitter. And the fans are like, oh. And John Cena, like a movie villain, was just kind of like, oh, I said a bad word. You know, oh no, I said a bad in that exact way. But he begins to just kind of dissect and pick at CM Punk. And he starts basically calling him a bullshitter. He said that CM Punk brands himself as anti-TKO. He said, "You're Mr. TKO." He was framing Punk as a guy that's at the balls and at the mercy of his billionaire corporate overlords. He called Punk a hypocrite amongst numerous things. He said that his material on his promos is tired, Joe. He said they're recycled. He said you have the same 5 promo moves of doom. It's like promo potato salad, you know? And the fans were like, oh my God, John, whoa. You know? He broke the fourth wall at one point and shouted out Matt Cardona, Nick Nemeth, and Claudio Castagnoli.
The big 3. Sierra Hotel, you know?
India. Shield. What else did he say in there? What am I forgetting? He said, I know you saw him closer than I did. What else did he did? Am I forgetting anything?
He said about something how he was a hypocrite, that he was not Punk, he was a capitalist, he's just a million, he's not the voice of the voiceless, he's a millionaire.
Yes.
And how his tweets are just bullshit, he has no values, no morals, basically, things like that. Basically, the only question I have for you, Ibu, did he lie?
Well, before we explore that and examine and we examine the truthfulness of John Cena's words, because I'm going to be the last on this. I spoke on this yesterday on YouTube, and I made a big tweet about it where I kind of gave my opinion on why I do think this works. So TLDR, I think this works. But I'm going to let you guys give your immediate reactions to what John Cena just did to Punk. And I should also point out, if people didn't watch SmackDown, they did do a package earlier in the night where, like, I don't know if you caught this, Joe, like it was narrated by Corey Graves, and it was like Punk and Cena, yin and yang.
I did actually.
Yes, yeah, and it was like CM Punk. He was the punk rock and voice of the da 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 da. He was the yin. John Cena was the establishment. He was picked by the da 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 da. And it's like he's the yang. And now the paradigm has shifted, and it's showing like the flip. But I say that to say I gave my opinion on what's happening here, and someone accused me of reaching, Joe, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, they literally like held your hand earlier in the show with a package and were like, this is what we are doing. Like now he's this guy and he's this guy. Nonetheless, who wants to take this first?
Well, I can't follow Anna on this, I feel. Well, I think the best thing to do here is I'll just give my assessment of it, and then you guys can
go crazy.
Get into a rally of sorts.
Go for it, Joe. Go for it.
Because my take on this is pretty thin in that I like the promo. Yeah, it was a good promo. It was really refreshing to see John like show some personality.
Yeah, he had color again, you know?
Yeah, it's been so just dull to watch.
Mechanical and
yeah, like I think there are parts of it that I would like to. I mean, I believe he could have started the promo the same way and it would have been as effective without actively recreating CM Punk going for a table. And I think that visual, for me personally, I thought that actually made it feel more kind of silly than what I would have gone for. I think what he was recreating was obvious without like trying to specifically reframe it. You know, not exactly. I mean, it was obviously different. But you get what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
It became distracting Punk selling for that long.
Having it's kind of like,
yeah. So yeah, I liked it from that. My one kind of issue's too strong, but the one part of it that I find fascinating is I just don't know, you know, as the babyface, I don't know what your rebuttal is supposed to be. And I'm not sure the people involved, or at least everyone but the babyface involved, cares about that. I think they think it's very funny. And Maybe I'm wrong, man. Maybe Punk has some great plan for his
Some
promo
great
on
response,
Friday. But it's like in that regard, I find it to be kind of fascinating. And
Yes.
look, I mean, wrestling's a weird beast, and there's a lot of maneuverings and people playing games with the TV that we watch. It's hard not to watch this and kind of go, I wonder how people feel about this. This is the biggest money match outside of Cody Rhodes for CM Punk available. It's the match everyone, remembers. It's the rematch that we never thought we'd get. And thus far, it has been a match that has been shaped around the hypocrisy of CM Punk. I don't know what that means, what you should make of that. I've found it to be fascinating to watch, considering he's the babyface. So I'm intrigued what his rebuttal will be. I'm not convinced he has a extensive plan as of right now. He may just go out there and riff it. I don't know, but that part's interesting. As far as the segment itself, I liked it. I've always seen it did a good job. And outside of it, a little, again, I think they could have been a little more subtle with the kind of callbacks. I did think it was a really fun segment.
Yeah, I did too. And before I toss this over to Anna to do what she's about to do, what I'll say is, I don't know if anyone read my post about it, but I essentially said, Joe, that like Punk is now in a position where a lot of like pretty hard facts were levied at him that are hard to like just like fight off. And so his response is going to have to be a lot of just charisma, bravado, and platitudes, similarly to how John Cena had to fight off what was essentially a deconstruction of him and who he was in 2011. When John Cena was told about, like this idea that you're the best and you're a Vince McMahon ass kicker and so on and so ass kisser and so on and so forth, John Cena wasn't like the next day on TV like, hey guys, so I don't actually kiss Vince's ass, and I don't. Like, he didn't do that. It was more just kind of him like fighting for who he is. But it's just a lot of like having to like talk them out of like what they just heard.
There is a line here though. I feel I agree with your parallel, and I like the point. But it is hard not to kind of that stuff you can work into wrestling, I think, a lot easier. And the finish at Money in the Bank did that perfectly, right? Where Cena tried to do the right thing and paid the price. I don't know what the equivalent of that is in a wrestling context for what Punk's being accused of here.
I'm not in disagreement with you, Joe. My point actually is, no matter what Punk says, it's probably going to sound good, and the people will make noise for it. But I'm pretty certain none of it will dispel any of the actual things John Cena said to him, which is why they can go in two directions now. Either Punk does that, or he leans in now and goes, I am a fucking piece of shit, and I don't give a shit, and I am a capitalist, and I am here for money. What are you going to do about it? And it's fascinating in the sense that that's a play call you'd assume they do when the fans are tired of CM Punk and this thing has lost steam. To make that decision this early in the game, so to speak, when they still love him and the WWE audience, like, lest we forget, when Punk was in that weird mood in the summer of 2022 in AEW, Joe, there had already been a little bit of subtle fan unrest towards him in some sections, and it did bleed out in the crowds. There was that one promo I remember where a guy tried to like heckle Cole Cabana at him. That vibe hasn't.
The Eddie Kingston match,
right? That vibe hasn't gotten in his WWE run. So to lampshade, to shine a light on like these aspects of Punk's character and who he is in 2025 at the WWE fans and going, hey guys, WWE fans, I know you like him, but look at this. To do that at this point is fascinating because now it forces WWE to answer some difficult questions. Who is CM Punk? What does he stand for? And what is he? And how does he address this? And again, creatively, you can either have him just kind of yell it off, or he can just lean fully in. And that would just be an interesting creative choice to do now. Before I say anything more, Anna, what are your thoughts on this promo?
I really, really liked it. I don't know what you guys expect me to do here. I just watched the promo and I was like,
go for it.
He cooked him everything. Like, there's nothing I can say, like, I think the thing is, I'm not the biggest fan of the Pipebomb like a lot of people are. A lot of people are like, oh my god, this is revolutionary, this is like the biggest thing ever. To this day they think that was like the best promo of all time. That's not really it for me, So I think the way that they used that in Cena's promo, that was really interesting. I really liked the callbacks, I said like, oh, it could have been done more subtle. But I think the way that they did it it was really good, you know, because people from the first line, they're like, oh, okay, I know what they're doing. And Cena, he looked ready. It's like he was preparing for the promo for 14 years. He was looking in the mirror, just thinking like over and over again, like what I'm gonna tell this man. But what you said is completely true. There is nothing, the part that really caught me was like, there's nothing that Punk can possibly say that will just undo what Cena did in this promo, because everything he said is true. Like, he is a millionaire. He's not the voice of the voices anymore. He is friends with TKO. The K and the they get me. Sorry. Like, he is, you know, he went back. He is a hypocrite. He went back to WWE after everything he said about it. He's going to Saudi Arabia after everything he said about it. I don't think there's anything in the world that he can do unless he GTS the Prince of Saudi Arabia. Like, I don't see anything he can do to just like undo this damage, you know? And that's something I'm really curious to see. But also, I was really happy. Like, he called out him as a fraud, and he's just laying there with his eyes closed for 10 minutes in the Slim Jim table, looking like a fucking loser, while John Cena is just, I feel like Cena, when he's doing this, he's just like calling out the truth. He's not trying to do like any gimmicks. He's not trying to put over fucking Logan Paul, you know? He's just saying things as it is. He is a great promo, but he had not, like, this year so far, I feel like he didn't have good content at all.
He didn't have much to say.
And this, you have so much to say. It felt like I was waiting for someone to point this out about Punk, you know? Especially, I still feel like they're still, if they had brought up like some stuff with AEW, you know, like that would have been better, but I know they have like their problems with that. But I feel like I was just waiting, and a lot of people, especially after they announced the match was going to be in Saudi Arabia, a lot of people were like waiting for someone to like call this out from CM Punk, because everyone on the internet was calling this out for CM Punk. He's an hypocrite. He's not standing for the things he stood anymore. He has no values, has no morals. He likes to pretend like he's this, like, you know, this wrestler who's different from the rest, and he's just the same as everyone else. He's just the same. He's a fraud, and that's it. He's not a punk. He's a capitalist. Like, I feel like that was the defining line of the whole promo for me, because that was the thing that really, like cooked him.
Within that is the part that I find most stunning about this whole deal. They're telling a story in which they're kind of broadly addressing the elephant in the room.
Yes.
The issue with doing that is they're not the only two guys on this show. And by doing that, you're like inadvertently going, yeah, he's just like the rest of these guys that are complete and utter phonies who stand for nothing. And it's like, they're also baby faces. And I don't know. I don't care. Like, it's not, you know, I'm not mad about it. I'm not sitting here going, man, what about Randy Orton's moral compass as a character? But
right.
I do think it's weird. I think it's a strange thing to do. I think it's better than ignoring it in some level, but I also think it's kind of short-sighted in some ways. But that's just my feeling.
Yeah, because how do you build it back up to the character that CM Punk was before, you know? Because now you kind of break this mystique that some fans still had with him, in a way, you know? Like, I think we talked about it last week, Ibu, that, like, he built his entire career and his entire character over this morality that he had, over the fact that he was not the same as other wrestlers, over the fact that he was different and that he stood for something. And when you build your whole career on that, you are like, you have to be open to the criticism when you do something that goes against those morals. No?
Whereas Jey Uso's act isn't like, I stand for the justice of people. You know what I mean? Like,
it isn't, but it's still, I mean.
No, I know what you're saying, Joe. Like, it's still kind of like, now the promotion is basically telling the audience, yeah, a lot of these guys going, like, it's a little questionable.
You've now brought it onto the show,
right? Which is just fascinating. I wish, see, if the media did their jobs, like, Paul Levesque at a press conference would be asked, like, so what went into that decision, and what are your personal opinions on that? You know what I mean? Like, what are your personal?
Here's the other part, which makes it even more jarring. And I don't know this. I think there's a chance this is it, dude. They're going to do a promo on Friday, and they're going to do a match on Saturday, and that's it for Punk and Cena. I could be wrong on that. I don't know. That's my gut feeling.
You know what's fascinating? Actually, you know what? Joe put a super pin on that, because I actually have a note I want to make on that. Put a pin on is this the end? So we'll backtrack real quickly. What I think is interesting is, I said this on the tweet. John Cena, like you said, Anna, I have not enjoyed this heel run at all. and he's had very little interesting things to say. And because he was making such shallow statements and his material was so shallow, there was nothing to break down or analyze because he's just saying really flat things. And it didn't give him avenues to tell interesting stories because it's like, where can you go in a story where he's basically just saying the fans are bad? You know what I'm saying? But because he has a number of things to say at CM Punk now, it does open the door for this type of discussion where they can go in a couple of different directions, which is interesting. The last thing I'll point out about why I thought this worked is that, in case you missed my post, folks, what I was trying to make the argument was John Cena as a character to me was broken for most of his WWE career. And unless you were a wrestling fan that came up in like at the same time as John Cena's big push, if you were watching WWE prior to his introduction and you watched the company essentially basically industry played him in 2005 as this is now your top babyface. This is your guy. This is the guy you have to now view as in that role. For a lot of people, it was just a tough transition to make and accept. Now watching this guy just do what top baby faces are expected to do now, be funny, be quippy, win, get girls, blah, 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 blah. And he's doing these things in 2005, 6, 7. And he's beating Christian and he's beating Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho and Edge and Triple H, Umaga. For a lot of people, there was a big disconnect. And John Cena became the character who never gave up and he's just a good guy and blah, 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 blah. But a lot of those John Cena stories, it was just hard to believe in that character. And I always felt like it was just because like the way he was brought in to that specific generation of fans was just like it was just always going to be hard for them to take that. What I'm trying to explain is he just wasn't a believable character and he was kind of a broken character to me. And I thought Punk in 2011, like Anna, you make a good point. I think the power of the pipe bomb isn't like literally like the shocking lines about Ring of Honor or Colt Cabana. I think it's the power of the pipe bomb is just, it was the first effective in-show takedown of John Cena as a concept within the scope of WWE. And he did so really, really well in a really effective way. And so it works interestingly now when you flip it the other way around, because it is fair to say, how are you still CM Punk, but you're like the opening promo guy on Raw in 2025 going, is it great to be alive on a Kansas City evening? And hey, welcome to Monday Night Raw, I'm CM Punk. And it's like, it's fair to open that up, to cut that open and look into that and going like, what's actually going on here? Who is this guy really? In the same way that Punk did that to John Cena back then. And you could make the argument CM Punk, the TV character on Raw, is a broken character in the same exact way. And you can either just accept it and be fine with that or just acknowledge it and look into it. But what I think is narratively interesting is that they dared to cut that open and ask these interesting questions that you have to have hopefully interesting answers to. And it could result in disaster. It could fuck up CM Punk's like run for the next little bit. It could. And this could fuck up where John Cena's going, but it is a more daring direction that I'm more now interested in watching. And then the last bit on this is I'd like this to be the beginning catalyst of John Cena turning babyface. There was a moment in the promo, Joe, where the fans chant Cena at him.
Yep.
And for John Cena standards, I want to make this clear. I'm not saying this is like a Scorsese film, but for John Cena 2025 on-air performance standards, his approach to this was really, really well done and fairly subtle, where he just kind of like saw them chanting, smirked, but then kind of shrugged it off like what does it matter at this point? It's too late, guys. It's too fucking late. It was like kind of
it was really well done. It was really well done.
Right. And so I say all that to say I wouldn't mind a double turn here. I don't think that's what they do, but I wouldn't mind that. But I just hope that on a character level, on a character basis, this affects both guys coming out of this. I feel like it almost has to, given the direction that they've taken with the story. And to your point about now who's winning this match and if they're going to do it again, right? One thing I find interesting, Joe, is I feel like there's a 4-corner situation being set up. And I don't know where it's going. I really don't, right? But Cody and Seth have now crossed paths twice in the last few weeks. Seth has the Money in the Bank. Seth has unresolved issues with CM Punk. Punk has now run in with Cody twice now in the last few weeks of TV. Cena is the champion. Cody's going to win the King of the Ring. Now I don't know how that connects. I just know that they're all happening concurrently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I guess my point is, I don't know if this leads to another singles match, but you got my point is just like I feel like there's something weird or funky is about to happen with involving those 4 people.
A lot of this recent cycle has felt like they've just changed directions entirely with a few different people. They switched the world title, which I know now has been suggested that was always the plan, but Punk was dealing with Seth, and obviously still is, but that Cena thing was pretty sudden, right? I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not convinced they have the answers. I think they like to kind of play around with these things and see what catches fire, generally.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Anna.
I was gonna say like the whole thing about how it's gonna affect their characters. I think my fear, like knowing WWE, it's just very likely that after this rivalry is done, they just act like nothing happened. And then CM Punk is just back to being CM Punk. John Cena is just back to being like the shitty heel that he was being the whole year so far. And that's like the one thing that I really don't want to happen, but I am like 80% sure that's gonna happen. Like if they actually decide to go deep into these characters, do a double turn or do this or do that, that's gonna be really surprising for me because I have no faith in them doing that at all. I think it's much more likely they're just gonna ignore everything that was said, and they're like, yeah, they just said that to appease the fans online or for just to like Cena wanted to say that about Punk or whatever, but they're not really gonna go anywhere with it, because that's just how WWE works. I feel like a lot of the times,
I'm with you in the sense that I think this feels like something that may just live in a vacuum. It's the story it's the story Cena wanted to tell, and it was they kind of deemed this the right approach for if they're going to wrestle in Saudi Arabia. This is the way to do it. I'm not convinced this is going to be a lot. I think they're going to want Punk to work with Gunther soon after this.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, very.
We'll see. That's the other thing. Gunther has talked shit on his promo before Goldberg came out. Gunther basically said like, Seth, I'm right here, so like you can cash in on me any fucking time you want. And so it's like, is he gonna do that?
I mean,
Cena did, and I think it was last week. Cena did a promo where he basically said that like, he basically said something to the effect of like, Seth isn't gonna cash in on me. But at the same time, Seth Rollins has also vowed that he will never let CM Punk hold the world title. So I don't know. We'll see what they end up doing. I guess what I was trying to get at was that like I could see something weird happening with one of these world titles before SummerSlam.
I agree. No, I agree completely. Yeah, I think I actually would expect something weird to happen. Because I don't. If you just look at the pieces right now, it feels like we're missing one.
Yeah,
very strange. Yeah.
Yeah. So
his name is Roman Reigns.
Right? Seriously,
yo,
dude.
What's going on?
It's nearly July. It's bizarre. It's
Joe. I look not to be the the eye emoji guy, but like Joe, people thought he was gonna be at Money in the Bank like months ago.
Yeah, he was part of the major angle coming out of WrestleMania.
Correct. So that I don't know what the hell is going on with that one. I liked Roman's performance at WrestleMania, and hilariously, I remember watching that and going like, I can get into that, And then I also like his TV dynamic with CM Punk when it's them two. So I was like, I could get into that, and then like he just disappeared. And it's like, all right,
it would be transformative for what Paul Lee's trying to do with Seth if they had Roman on TV. Just simple as that. Like, would it make it complicated sometimes? Yes. Mm-hmm. If this was the new faction opposite the unlikely allies of CM Punk and Roman Reigns, it would be much different, I promise you, in terms of crowd. I'm not saying it's dying or anything. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it would help to have Roman Reigns on TV.
Oh, of course. People care about him. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, you've invested years into that,
Joe, think about how electric every Braun Breaker Roman Reigns interaction has been.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's bizarre. It's a bizarre thing. And like, Anna's right to bring him up in this conversation because let's be honest, Roman's he ain't coming back to do underneath things. So when he is back, it's going to be a major happening. And like, you need to figure out where that fits in with all these other. It's very strange, very, very strange situation. I think Gunther winning the belt back fascinates me in a range of ways. I don't know if I fully believe that was the plan all along, to be completely honest, but I don't know anything. Maybe I'm wrong.
Could you imagine, Joe, like a PW Insider Report drop saying that like him winning it back was directly related to Roman's delay in return? You're gonna DM it to me and just be like, I'm so good at this, just something like that.
I genuinely don't know. I want to be clear about that. This is purely just me I can't imagine.
Chat, he's lying.
Plan,
Joe knows things, but go ahead.
if the plan was to get the belt back on Gunther, I cannot imagine that would have been their stops along the way to get him back there. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine someone going, he'll win it back in June. Let's do the McAfee program. Like, it's just bizarre, dude. And I haven't got a problem with it. Like, I think Gunther being world champion is, fair and just.
It's preferable.
It's the way it should be. But I just. And he's also like, he's in a weird slot in that, like, he's a top guy. But you can't help but shake the feeling that the real top guys don't see him that way. You can't help it. Yeah. I'm sorry. This is not a reflection of him as a talent. But, like, he never did beat CM Punk when we thought he was going to beat CM Punk, He's never been in there with Roman Reigns. He's never been in there. You can't help but feel it.
Do you think, Joe, these niggas are coming to TV, They're looking at the lay of the land, and it's like, all right, what are you doing? He's like,
Look. I think you describing that all these guys are now in the orbit of Cena's belt is really interesting. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, really my God. Interesting. I didn't even think about it from the Gunther standpoint. That is interesting. That, like, how they now all gravitated to John. Like, what's going on with that? Like, what the fuck?
I agree with that. I feel like either is because they know that if they go against Gunther, they would have to, like, lay down to Gunther, that Triple H is going to make them do that, and they just don't see him at that point. They don't see him, like, above them, especially guys like Roman, guys like CM Punk, like Cena, Cody, whatever. Maybe they just don't see Gunther as a guy who's, like, in their minds, maybe like, why is this dude supposed to beat me? Like, who is he, And which is insane because he's a better wrestler in ring than any of those guys. Like, come on. But I just don't think they have that level of respect for him, which is incredibly weird.
Let's be real.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah.
All common sense would have told us. Retirement year, farewell tour, John Cena was going to go into WrestleMania and work with Gunther in a main event.
Yes.
And that didn't happen. Roman Reigns has not wrestled Gunther. CM Punk did not wrestle Gunther. Cody Rhodes did. He beat him. Hopefully in a month this is aged poorly and he's exactly on that level. I'm just saying, if you look at what's on the TV, it's interesting.
And Joe, we should point this out, brother. People can think whatever they think. In a lot of ways, wrestling has not changed when it comes to the top guys. The top guys don't do things they don't want to do, especially relative to finishes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I do think maybe there's like a point also of, like, some insecurity. You know what I mean? Like, if they step into the ring with Gunther, they're gonna get cooked. Imagine, like, fucking CM Punk.
Why has Rollins Gunther been teased a couple times but been delayed this many times? Like, it's
weird, right?
Is Seth going, let's do that when I can beat him? Like, I'm not accusing him of that. I'm just saying, like, is it like hey, if we do this now, you have to do the job. Well, then fuck that.
This is a genuine gut feeling thing. I don't think it's about him being better in ring. I don't think they believe he's as big a star as them. Plain and simple. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine there are metrics on their side for that. The counter to that would be the only way to get on their level is to work with them.
Yep.
So, Joe, there was a clear shift. Do you remember at the very beginning of the reign, right? He beat Randy. He beat Sammy. He had live promos with Bret the Hitman Hart. And then out of nowhere, it was like, all right, so now you're going to work with Priest again and Finn Balor. And you're like, what? What's going on here?
Right.
It felt like Joe, he was drilling through another, like, ceiling, so to speak. And the people on that level were like, no, access tonight. Let's relax your buddy.
And this is really important. This is not us doing Gunther has been buried.
No, he's the best booked wrestler in the promotion, probably.
And he is clearly a favorite of the book himself. Clearly. Honestly, Anna, if you really think about win-loss, he's up there, right? I mean, last couple months a little shaky, but he's up there.
Yeah.
He does the job.
I'm with you, but he's up there. It's just, ultimately, you said it's not that different. Wrestlers have a lot of power more now than they have in many years, and that's a good thing.
More now than 10 years ago.
And I do think at some point, if he's going to bridge that gap, one of those guys is going to have to put him over.
And this weirdly feels like remember those stories you always hear from like '90s wrestling? Like Brett always, you know how Brett like permanently resents Hogan because he never put him over and stuff.
Yeah.
I could see a reality Joe. Like, can you just imagine Joe, 50-year-old Gunther in an interview going like, "Yeah, all those jackoffs never wanted to work with me because they wouldn't fucking lose to me."
Yes,
Pieces of
actually, I
shit.
can. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. It's like, why when the question gets asked, you had a very good WWE run. Why was it not legendary? And he's just like, why don't you ask these following 4 names? You know what I mean? So yeah.
It's tough, man. These top guys have a lot of power, and again, that's just a cool script. That's the way it should be. But it's just you got to navigate that as a booker, and that goes for any book. When they get guys truly over, it becomes a lot harder to book them, and that's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem in some cases.
A lot of people have said that the double-edged sword in WWE is when you stand a wrestler, they get to a certain level, and all of a sudden, like their creative gets very weird.
Yeah.
Anna, what do you want to say?
Because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, is it a ego thing, or maybe they don't like the way that Gunther talks about WWE and talks about wrestling? Like he has a different approach, and they don't really respect that. Like,
it's definitely not.
Yeah,
that.
I think it's like, and yeah, that's a very weird.
They don't see him as a top guy on their level. Which
is crazy.
Of popularity,
like,
as a wrestler, it's crazy, but he's not as popular as a lot of those guys. That's what they care about. You know, it's like, and again, the easy counter to that if you're Gunther is I would be a much more popular if I beat CM Punk in the middle of the ring. You know, that's why wrestling's a unique beast, right? It's like I can only get as over as you let me get over, but you have to let someone has to walk you across the bridge. You can't go over on your own. So it's a weird thing. It's and you'll notice like top guys make allies with people they don't see as a threat. Look, I'm just exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, right?
You know
everyone's down with Jay being a top guy.
They all love Jay.
They don't see Jay as a guy who's actually, and I don't think they see Gunther as a threat necessarily. I just think that they, protective of their spot. That's what I'm saying.
I do think it's interesting, and this is not me casting any aspersions on anybody or insinuating anything, but last year at Fanatics vs. Joe, Punk was asked who he wanted to work with, and Gunther was one of the names. He was asked the same question this year, Joe, yesterday. You know who his names were?
Hey.
Randy Orton and AJ Styles.
Yeah. 2 guys that are in his age bracket who are a lot less driven to be the top guy at this point and not competitors at all.
Randy Orton is so chill, Joe. Like he's so like, yeah.
And AJ, if I showed up to TV and they said you got to put Hulk over AJ, I go, sure. How long?
Exactly.
And that isn't a punk. Let me be clear. That is not a Punk thing. That is wrestling, dude. That's what they do.
Because why has Seth Rollins not worked Gunther? You know what I mean? Like they walk past each other every day, every show, But well, all right, we'll go right to some quick King of the Ring predictions before we let Anna go. So here's the deal, guys. The whole not subtle, but the whole story happening with Sami Zayn this year, post Mania Joe, is he wants to win the world title. And other characters are questioning whether he has what it takes to do that and whether he can balance his friendships with people like Jey Uso and also have the personal goals like winning a championship. And people have questioned this. Randy Orton himself straight up said, look, man, you're going to win this world championship. It's just not this time. He lost to Randy Orton. Randy Orton's going to the King of the Ring finals. Cody Rhodes, he is friends with Jey Uso. He loves Jey. But they've done this twice now, Joe, where Cody, I'll tell you what, Cody, he did some good face acting, Joe, where there's 2 times now, Joe, that Cody stood in the ring for the Yeet entrance, and he's kind of made this face like, you know what I mean, where it's kind of like, this little fucking prick. You know what I mean? Am I tripping and seeing that? Like, he has this kind of like face where like deep down it's like, do you hate this guy? You know what I mean? But nevertheless, he's facing Jay tonight. Winner's gonna face Randy in the King of the Ring finals. Joe, who's winning this match? Who's facing Randy? Who's winning the King of the Ring?
Cody's winning. I'm fascinated by that match, by the way. Not in like I think it's gonna be terrible. I'm interested in what it looks like. It's a weird match to kind of imagine.
Joe, they're just gonna do a million. They're gonna trade punches and then do a million finishers in segment 3.
I've heard worse ideas. Cody's winning the King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the safe choice. I don't think that was the most interesting choice, but I think they would delay the Sami Zayn thing until like there's no further you could go with it, which is honestly is a Triple H staple. If you go back to like the NXT, that he would he would always do that. He would go one beat beyond you could imagine. Like, so And I also think they want to do. You mentioned this on the show. I think maybe I was on it. I don't know. You said like they've not been able to do Cody and Randy. because they can't turn Randy. This is a way to do the match in the King of the Ring, and then you can go back to it if that changes. So
right. Anna, who's winning? Jay or Cody tonight, and then who's winning the tournament?
There is literally none of these options that interest me at all. Like, I could not care less. They are the most uninteresting choices to win King of the Ring. I genuinely believe that. So I could not care less, because none of them, if Jey Uso wins again, I'm committing a crime. Like, I don't even know what to say at this point. But yeah, Cody, Randy, it's just not interesting choices. It feels like very like, sure, whatever, like whoever wins, what is it gonna change at all? Like, they would get title shots even if they didn't win this, you know? Like, so
true. There's the feeling of like the coolest tournaments are where you feel like someone's ascending. Like Gunther last year winning the King Ring was really cool. Here it's like these are all top guys who are getting title shots on pay-per-views no matter who wins this thing.
Yeah.
Like if Cody loses his final to Randy, right? If that just did happen, I don't think it affects Cody's title hopes in general. For example,
it's like a feeling when like Charlotte won the Royal Rumble, you know, when like you know what I mean. It's just like yeah, sure.
Yeah. My biggest criticism is I think Cody Randy's going to have way less doubt than Cody Sammy. Way less.
Yeah, that's a great point. Here's the thing, Joe. I am looking forward to the wrestling match that Cody and Randy will have. I think it'll be very good. But like to your point, Sammy Cody would have been a pick'em as a wrestling match. So we'll see.
Because Randy's not winning, dude. He ain't gonna work. He's not gonna work Cena again. I hope not. And I loved him and Gunther, but it wouldn't make sense. Like it's just, that's the one part of it that I think is a strange choice.
It's too obvious, A less obvious one is the women's. Tonight, Jade Cargill is facing Roxanne Perez. Interesting matchup.
Well, I promise that wasn't intended the way. I'm just sweating. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm innocent. Please, sir. Just proceed with the bracket. I'm just sitting.
The timing of Roxanne's working Jade Cargill and Joe Hunt were like, oh fuck, Jesus. The winner of this match will face Asuka in the finals. Saudi loves them some Asuka, it appears, but who's winning this one, Anna? Or you know, because I don't think any of us know. Who would you like to win Roxanne and Jade, and who would you like to win the tournament? Reminder that the winner of the tournaments face their brand's champion. So if Jade wins the tournament, she faces Tiffany. If Roxanne wins, she faces Io. No. Yeah, Io. And if Asuka wins, she also faces Io at SummerSlam. So go for it, Anna.
Honestly, like out of personal preference, I would love to see Asuka and Io. Just like personal preference. But I think Jade is winning, which is, if I would, rank my preference of winning based on these matches, Asuka, Io, Roxanne, Io, Jade, Tiffany is like bottom of the barrel. But I think that would be the matchup. Probably Jade winning, but shouldn't be.
Yeah, I agree with Anna. I have to tell you something. I think Asuka versus Jade Cargill, if that is I think that is
terrifying,
insane matchmaking. And let me be clear, I think Jade's got better. I think Jade has been pretty good lately. I'm not trying to point a finger or be dismissive. I just think that is such a clunky matchup.
Yeah.
Asuka's had one singles match in over a year.
She's a flow wrestler.
Dude, I just think it's bizarre matchmaking. I thought Alexa and Asuka was weird matchmaking, but at least like they know their game. Jade's still finding who she is. It doesn't make sense to me. I think the Roxanne Jade match, as much as my reaction suggested otherwise, I actually think will be fine. I think Roxanne can just play conventional heel and bump around.
Yeah, it's gonna go without a hitch, so to speak.
Yeah, with Asuka, it's like you kind of have to have like a Clash of the Titans match because she's a badass, right? Like she's not going to be playing Larry Zbyszko, so it's weird. But yeah, I think Jade's winning the tournament. I think she's going to win the belt, and then Naomi will cash in on her at SummerSlam. I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning. What I will say about Jade, I worry about the Asuka match. But they had a TV match with Jade and Tiffany on a SmackDown. And I liked how that looked. I did.
It was decent.
Yeah, I liked how that looked. So I wouldn't worry about that match. But the finals, to your point, Joe, Asuka's a weird wrestler, man. I like Asuka. She can still get it done. But like that, Asuka's someone you got to be careful with the matchmaking. And Jade also is someone you got to be careful with the matchmaking. Someone you don't have to be careful with the matchmaking is Roxanne Perez, who could seemingly... Roxanne Perez, Joe, is bred. You can just put anything in it. You know?
And let's be clear, if we're talking about Asuka off of 4 months of live events where she's fucking in rhythm, she could work with me and have a good. I'm wrestling a lot tonight. She could work with me and have a good match. We're talking about, she's just come back after having pretty shaky form before her injury, serious injury. She worked a fatal 4-way. She worked with Alexa, who she's probably with house shows probably worked a lot, I assume. Her and Jade have only done the tag stuff, and I remember those two being a really awkward combination in those matches. So
yeah,
it's just I just find it puzzling. And again, I would love for us to come on here in a week and go, the match was killer. I'm not, I just think it's a weird choice. That's all.
I'll never forget Joe watching that France show, and I remember being like, "This is going all right. We're doing good. We're doing good." And then the second they got off track, I remember it feels like when you watch it's like watching a comedian bomb or something, you're like, no, and then they're trying to get in, they can't figure out what's happening, and they don't know what spot they're on, and Kyrie's confused and Jade's confused, and I remember being like, no. So we'll see what happens, but that's the end of our WWF segment of the show. Anna, is there anything you'd like to say to the world before I let you go?
Yes, I just gotta say that I saw one super chat directed at me about I don't know if Monty can pull it up, thoughts on Game 7 of the NBA Finals, Anna. And I do have something to say because I did watch the highlights.
Oh my God, Monty, if you could pull up this NBA Finals super chat, go for it. But go ahead, Anna.
Yes,
not Josh Toffee, $1.99. Thoughts on Game 7 of the NBA Finals, Anna? Go for it.
The Halliburton injury, just heartbreaking, the way he fell to the ground, and you can see the Achilles just popping off, it's insane. And I think the Indiana Pacers, they were gonna win if he was not injured by the end, because he was cooking the first 2 minutes, and then he immediately got injured, and they were still playing a very good game, but then it's just one of those things, So I don't know if it was the most deserved win of all time, but still solid game, solid series, but sad thing for Halliburton. And I don't know how long an Achilles heel injury takes.
That's a year. That's a year.
Yeah. He's gonna miss next season.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know even if they didn't win, it would have been a much more competitive game, and we wouldn't be in this feeling of what if, what would have happened, because I hate when it's just that feeling oh, what could have been, So, but I mean, congratulations to Shea and his team. And that's it. Those are my thoughts on the NBA Finals. I was actually tapped in this series, just gotta say.
Good shit. Good basketball analysis from man. What can't she do, chat? You know what I mean? John Cena t-shirt, NBA analysis, talking some wrestling, can do some movie talk if you need her. That's why we pay her the big bucks. Swice it should go water. That's why we pay her the big bucks, and by big bucks I mean the residuals from my paycheck. But Anna, thank you so much.
Ain't that the truth?
Anna, thank you so much.
10 cents for the dollar for Ibu, but yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah, brother. Anna, thank you so much for joining Worldwide. I know you have to get up out of here, but we appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys.
Goodbye,
have
Anna.
a good show.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Anna.
All right.
So, do you think Tyrese can do some Worldwide later this year?
As a complete shoot, Joe, I was talking yesterday, and I won't say who was. Someone was like, "Dude, you got to convince him to do a wrestling podcast with you."
You absolutely do. I feel.
Yeah.
I'll comes in and review SummerSlam.
I'll fucking say it. I don't give a shit. He DM'd me after the fucking. He texted me after the pipe bomb. He was like, "Yo, Cena's promo, bro."
He loves it, doesn't he? He loves it.
He loves wrestling, Joe. I'll never forget. It was going into Fastlane 2023, and it was Ray and Santos versus Bobby Lashley.
Yep.
Bobby Lashley's crew.
Yeah.
He was hitting me up like, "Is it Dragon Lee, bro?"
That's awesome, dude. Seriously, he's really cool, and obviously he's a great player. It's a bummer. That was a unique situation. We'll move on off this post surprise, but that was a unique situation for Pacers fans, right? Because they kind of knew next season was for null at that point. It was strange. They were playing almost in a bubble there for one game. It was very odd.
It's very fucking. And the biggest shame is dude, OKC were shitting themselves that whole first half.
Yes, yeah.
They were terrified, and I think it's reasonable to suggest they were very nervous. They were very tight. And had Halliburton still played and continued to control the pace and shoot from the outside the way he was, I think the Pacers would have jumped out to a 13-point halftime lead. and it would have created a different dynamic. I think OKC realizing, bro, we're at home and they don't have Halliburton. We're going to win this game. Just lock the fuck in. I think they kind of shook all that off in the second half. And it also doesn't help that Indiana, Halliburton controls their pace and their offense. He's the one who gets them out on the break. Without that, they just have to do half court shit. And TJ McConnell's a fucking nutcase, and he can get hot, but like it's not in a way where like the offense is going to be very dynamic and guys are going to be moving. They're just kind of watching this small white man just make impossible shots.
The shot creation was like when you and I are doing a 2-man booth on Worldwide. Speaking of such, should we get to some super chats, bro?
Yeah, we're gonna do them right now, and
I'm gonna read the super chats.
Go for it, Joe. Let's start right from the top.
All right, mate. Here we go, folks. Ebu Mania 14 says, "Boo! A report from Dave Mills dropped to report about WWE having interest in signing CMLL wrestlers after Grand Slam. He dropped names like Mascara Dorada and Mystico. What's your take on? Is it credible?" Damn.
Yes, it's very credible. It's literally what I said like 2 days after the announcement was made. AAA's roster's not very good, and CMLL's roster's chock full of extremely talented wrestlers who they don't pay a lot of money to. So you do the math. Yes, they're going to make offers to the people that get, TV platforms on AEW shows. So, of course, they're going to offer Mascara Dorada a thing. Do I think they will be able to get Mascara Dorada? Probably not. But do I think they will be able to successfully get some of the undercard guys? Absolutely. And you know what CMLL's response will be to that? They're going to go, fair enough, and they're going to just make new guys that they plug in because that's how they've always handled talent in their promotions history. They don't sell for losing anybody, Joe. They don't give a fuck.
Right.
It's interesting. It's just that, and it's mainly because of their confidence in their own in-house system of making people. So that's just going to be how that goes. And the Dave report is credible, and it's probably what's going to happen.
Love Dog says, "Do you think WWE could try the Sin Cara gimmick again? I think if done well, it could work."
No.
Too much. You'd be better off just starting a new gimmick, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Don't do that.
Because, obviously, for all the reference we have for Mystico, unfortunately for many fans, they think Sin Cara and they just remember like botch compilations and stuff. So it's just, you'd be better off starting fresh. Love Dogs also says, "What's going on with Ray Phoenix? Is he in the doghouse?"
Ray Phoenix missed an NXT TV that he was supposed to go to. And then the SmackDown before Worlds Collide, he couldn't make it. And then he did Worlds Collide because it was an important show. And then he hasn't been at any of the TV since. He's not in the doghouse. It's probably a personal situation, and so I would just leave that alone.
Okay. Natalie says, "The fact that Randall is in the main event over Sammy makes me sick." Also, hi WrestlePurists crew. Love your any internal updates on Night of Champions plans given current event. I thought that was in regards to WrestlePurists internal updates, and I was quite confused. That makes more sense. Either anything on this, mate?
Yeah, the show's probably going to happen in Saudi Arabia. They're going to take their charter flight. They're going to go there. They're going to have wrestling matches, and they're going to take the flight back. That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I definitely feel for and sympathize with the crew. But I think, what you just described is going to be the case. It would probably just be a tougher week for those folks, right? But Are you sick that Randy's in the main event, by the way, over Sammy? You mad?
I'm not mad. I'm happy I can finally watch Cody and Sammy wrestle. Unless Jay wins tonight. And then, what's up?
Cody and Randy.
What did I say?
You can say Cody and Sammy.
Maybe that was my heart talking.
Yeah, Freudian.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't. I made it up.
There's better content,
Yeah. Thank you, Natalie. A Maverick says, "Why during the 3 hours of the last..." This is actually a great question. I'm very glad someone asked this because I would have forgot. "Why during the 3 hours of the last SmackDown were literally 5 minutes for TV time missing for the tag team segments and Julia with Zelina? It hurt both of you." This was fascinating.
Did you see that they posted them on the internet?
Yes.
After the show? Yeah.
So for anyone who missed this, SmackDown had 2 segments that were posted as like .com exclusive or YouTube exclusives. I don't think they do .com exclusives, but YouTube exclusives, social exclusives. And it's like, this show is 3 hours long, and there was considerable space on the show if you watched it where there was like nothing happening between matches.
You know what makes it even funnier, Joe? They do actual online exclusive segments that were never planned to be on the TV show, and they're not set up the way those were. Those were literally just SmackDown segments.
Yeah,
those were literally SmackDown segments that could have been on SmackDown. But because, for example, an online exclusive will normally usually be like the Garzas just won a match, right? And then you see them sweaty in the back with like Kathy Kelly, and she's just kind of like, what are you guys' thoughts on that with the microphone in their hand, right? And that's like an online exclusive, These were just like, it was like a backstage segment with like the whole tag division talking about the Wyatts. And The other one is like a typical package you'd get in the middle of a SmackDown episode. So I don't know what happened. Typically when that kind of thing happens, what they'll claim to me is that like something went over time on their format. But what could have went over time on this format to cause those two things to be nixed?
I mean, I'm looking at this, and I know there were segments, but there was 5 matches on this show, the longest of which was 11 minutes long.
Yeah, they actually did better this week when it comes to like those interminable match lengths. Yeah,
9 minutes, 7 minutes, 7 minutes, 5. Like this show should have been. They should have had tons of time to spare on a 3-hour broadcast.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe Jay doing his entrance the second time. Fucking fuck that.
It's always Jay's fault.
Yeah, right. Goddamn Jay. You know what they do on the Netflix now, Joe? Jay's entrance is during the commercial. Almost
Cowards.
every time now. Yeah.
I'd ask for a refund.
Thank you, Maverick.
Thank you, Maverick. Okay, if you tell this one, I'm going to choke here. I'm not careful. Go for it.
All right. Chi-Town Spurs, $10. CMLL is my favorite promotion of the last 2 years with incredible matches. But that Torneo de Escuela earlier this year really showed me how deep they are. They can reload on talent better than anyone. Yeah, it's a fact. Like I said, they literally are built to just lose top guys and be okay with it. This sensation that is Mascara Dorada is a 2-year project. And Neon, who has emerged, literally just kind of came out of thin air like a year ago. And that's kind of always been what they do. They just get guys and they just bring them up and they do the lightning matches and then they get moved up the card and then they tag with guys and then you just put them in trios matches with Mystico. Next thing you know, they're top guys. Zandokan Jr. was a Joe Schmo 2 years ago, and now he's main eventing Arena Mexico shows. So, and it's why they don't like really pay their guys like crazy amounts of money outside of like Mystico, and maybe some of the guys with tenure. Is because like in their mind it's like we don't need you. So we'll see what happens, but again, this will lead to WWE being able to successfully poach probably some undercard dudes that they can, promise champagne wishes and carry out caviar dreams to. But CML's reaction to that will be like, okay, we don't care. So that's the deal with that.
I'm intrigued if we get a similar situation to AEW and New Japan, where WWE targets free agents, and it becomes a situation where AEW enter a bidding war because it's like better than they go to the. You know what I'm saying? Like the way we got
I think that's going to happen with Dorada.
So do I. I think Dorada's going to be signed to AEW because the options are he's going to sign for one of those two, and CMLL would much prefer it be AEW, and AEW obviously will want him. God, great talent, right? Same with all the New Japan guys. But I think that's going to be the more that these like scenes of wrestling become war zones for the two US promotions, that feels like it's going to become common, which I'm not thrilled about. But like,
I don't really like it.
I mean, I guess it's better to have two bidders than one, right? I guess that's the
For sure.
Yeah.
I guess my point is like Dorada can do the most spectacular things in the business, and like, the nerd in me is like, man, it's just cool to have that as like for me, it's like it's cool that like he's CMLL's attraction when it comes to like if you want to see that, you have to watch that show and seek that out and pay for it to watch that. And like that's just something like old school about that to me, in my opinion. And the idea that now he just has to be under this like umbrella just to prevent him from going from the other big guys' umbrella. Like I understand it's a means to an end, and I understand the logic of why it has to happen that way. It's just a shame that it has to be that way. But
yeah, there's no solution for it. But I agree that ideally the wealth would be spread much more evenly across wrestling. But that ain't where we're trending, and that's just the
no, absolutely not. It's not. Thank you, Chi-Town.
Yeah. Darren Walker says, a shame about Liv Morgan's injury. Last 12 months, she became the best all-round female in WWE. Promos and segments good. And tag match of the year versus Naomi and Bianca.
That match was very good.
It was.
It is a shame, man. I came around to her, and I'm watching Raw last week, Joe, and she's opening the show with this big heated promo, and then she has a segment with EO, and then she does a backstage thing with Roxanne, and she has her angle with Nikki Bella, and they clearly see her, and they're like, oh my god, she's like the great connector. She's the superwoman. She can tell all these interconnected stories. She can cut the promo. She can work on the TV. She did all those segments. She was gonna work a match with Kyrie also, and do another like subsequent like backstage deal after. Like they clearly saw her like. I don't know, like, how I put this, because they don't see her as Rhea Ripley, but they definitely see her as, like, this is one of our horses that can really just, like, be an engine on the television.
Kind of like how they never saw a Kevin Owens as Cody Rhodes, but his value was immense to them. Folks, I'm using very broad comparisons. That makes sense, though. That kind of idea.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So it really is a shame, and I'm curious now what EO does next. I was told that WWE made a decision on what to do with the tag belts on Thursday. They did the creative meeting for what happens on Raw. Tonight's Raw on Thursday. So my assumption is that Roxanne is just going to slot in her spot, and she's probably going to assume a lot of Liv Morgan's creative. So we'll see what happens. Thank you, Darren.
Which is the one positive for this, and it isn't a positive, but it's just kind of fortunate, right? That luckily with the Roxanne thing, you got in a position where there is a natural step to make, at least.
And it makes sense in the context of the story that they were doing anyway. So
yeah, and for Roxanne, in a weird roundabout way, this could be huge for her. And I know that's kind of crass way of phrasing it, right? Someone's injured. What I mean is, you could get yourself in a position here where Roxanne is the person Liv's going to come back and work with as a babyface. And if you think about how long Liv may be out, that may be a WrestleMania thing, dude. Like that, this may genuinely transform Roxanne's first year on the main roster. So
she was already going to do well. This is now a position where she can just be like a straight up star.
Yeah.
So good for her. We'll see how this Jade match goes. Thank you, Darren, for the super chat.
My head is in the oven. Says, hi guys, still hot. I'm sorry, still heartbroken after the name popped me, unfortunately. Still heartbroken over the Halliburton injury. Feeling sad and missing Kevin Owens on my TV. What do we think you'd be doing on the show now? Bro, this is not going to help you. This is going to make you sad, or we're going to do fantasy booking. I mean, we'll try our best.
When wrestlers I really like are gone for a period, I just try to like forget about them for lack of a better term. And then like I got hit with like a wave of like remembering KO like a week ago, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah. He would, I mean, we presume he would have worked with Randy and then probably done something with Sammy, right? Gone back to the no, Sammy and him probably were done actually at Chamber. I was thinking about it.
I feel like I was told, and I don't remember what it was, but yeah, it just sucks. It just fucking sucks.
It was the faction thing.
Yes, yeah. So this Seth stable only happened because the original faction couldn't happen, and the original faction was going to include Kevin Owens. So yeah, that's what it was. Is what it is, I suppose.
The same gentleman struggling mightily is back and says, sorry for the double message. Please don't apologize, please. You've been through enough. Do we think my old man goat Sami Zayn can get a 2 3/4 out of Karrion Kross? Best American worker ever, if so. American worker's funny. I think he's easily going to get that out of Karrion Kross, to be honest, bro.
You think so?
I think
wow.
Sami Zayn's skill set is so natural for if you're a bigger guy. If you could just do a couple suplexes, you'll be fine.
What's fascinating, Joe, is Sammy had an interaction across last week where he basically like, dude, enough, man. I think you're a fucking coward. I think you're afraid to do anything other than what you're doing right now, which is just being a guy that talks backstage. Yeah. And he's like, I think you're afraid to go out there and just fucking fail or bomb on your own too. Now, obviously, it's a little meta because it's like the actual truth is WWE just doesn't trust Cross to wrestle on the show. I
hadn't noticed.
Right, Joe. I'll say it. I spoke to somebody there, and they told me that like officials don't love how Cross bumps was the phrasing. So there you go. But look, Sammy said, "Look, when I'm done with King of the Ring, I'm going to fight you." And if I'm being completely honest with you, I think they're going to put a nice little bow on this. I think Sammy's going to do his best in this match. And gut feeling, and this is not something I'm wishing for. I'm pretty indifferent to this, and I wish all parties the best. Would not surprise me if this is Cross's last match in WWE within this specific run.
Yeah. And that to be clear, you're doing maths there. You're not reporting that, right?
Yeah. I'm just doing that. I'm using logic, and I'm saying Sammy finally puts a bow on this, beats him, or whatever happens out of that, and then they just and then that's kind of that.
So some people in the chat are talking about AJ not being able to have a match of this standard with Cross. Look, I'm the AJ Styles guy on this platform. In 2025, Sammy's a far sharper worker, if we're being honest.
Oh yeah.
I think Sami Zayn might be the best wrestler in the company, to be honest with you at this point. But
I agree, Joe.
Him or EO, I think, would be my pick.
That Randy match.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah.
Was so good. Dude, in the commercial break, they got so much out of like trading, teasing, doing that backdrop onto the table, and then the dueling corner punches. And my Jesus Christ. Sami Zayn is tremendous. So, yes, he has a better chance of having a solid match with Karrion Kross.
His skill set's also different in that he generally just sells and fights from underneath. It's just like that's a lot easier to age gracefully and play Terry Funk than like AJ Styles trying to be AJ Styles at 47. The fact he can do it always remarkable, but it's a lot harder than what Sammy's doing. So,
correct.
Okay. Laurent says, if Tony Mercedes was always planned for All In, what was the plan for Athena since she was involved in the promotion for All In when it was announced?
It was Tony Mercedes was planned for All In, but I think people are mixing up how far out some of these things are in the timeline. You know what I mean? Like, yes, Tony Mercedes was direction once they decided on that. That wasn't decided on like a year ago. It was just something that they've had in mind at least for a few months. I don't know what was the plan for Athena when they did the advertising. I'd like to think they maybe wanted to do something with her and Mercedes. That's what a lot of the fans wanted. That's what I wanted, but I don't have a concrete confirmed answer on this. But I can tell you that Mercedes Tony was something that they've decided upon. I'd say, what are we in June right now? I'd say since like February, that's what they were doing. Once they decided that they were going to blow off Mariah and Tony early, that's when they decided, okay, Mercedes and Tony is the summer match.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to say, maybe tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think they put as much thought into the pressure as some of us may have. Athena fans like myself may have hoped. Is that fair to say, do you think?
Say it one more time?
The presser that's been referenced a lot? Like, yes. I don't know if they put as much thought into that as an Athena fan, like myself, to be clear, would have hoped. I think that was just, representing Texas at the Texas presser. I could be wrong.
The same way that Thunder Rosa sometimes represents AEW for these local things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leron.
Yes, thank you. Leron. Did I say Leron?
It could be Leron. It could be Leron.
Tell us.
If it was Leron, I feel like the R would be capitalized.
Yeah, Leron, I think's right.
You know what I mean? No.
Mr. Ford, tell us in the chat. He's back. Mr. Ford says Rikishi's rants, involving JR funny considering he's spotting the card in WWE. He should be upset about anyone's booking it. Should be Jimmy. Let me tell you something.
Anything about Jimmy?
Jimmy would be so mad if his dad complained about his booking. Dude, Jimmy don't want to do anything more on TV, man. He's happy.
Joe, I have a thing to reveal to you. I sought out the full podcast from that J rant.
Excellent news.
It's funnier. It's way funnier than the isolated clip. Because I don't know if you saw it, Joe. You know what his next direction is after the rant? He insinuates that WWE is trying to phase all the Samoans out of the company.
That's superb.
And he basically was like, if you want to do something, why don't you do it to our face? If you're going to disrespect us after what we did for you guys, then just cut us. He basically just released all of us. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, I bet you saw us like, bro, shut up. Like, fuck.
That's awesome. We have news from the chat. It is Laron. It's Laron.
So, it is Laron. Wow.
It is. Rare victory in the name game for Holber here.
Wow. Joe doing better with the black names than me. That's insane. My God.
Dude, the Rikishi quote about Charlotte not being an all-timer and then naming Nikita Lyons was unbelievable. Did you see that?
My theory on that is they've exchanged some nice DMs in the past. He's probably never seen her wrestle. He's definitely seen clips. And he's like,
yeah. What do you mean by clips?
It's clips, And and he's like, Nikita, she's up next. Next week he's gonna add a little Vice to this list or something.
He's an excellent podcaster, man. He's a
great. He's a link back to the old days, Joe.
Yeah, he is. It's so true.
And the problem is our focus is in scrutinizing how accurate the things he's saying are, and it's like that's not the point. We know these takes are like wrong, guys. The point is like, how funny are these statements?
Yeah.
You gotta let these old people be mad and wrong, like because that's what leads to the comedy.
The real money, dude. If he starts doing live streams where he like watches live while Jay wrestles, I would actually become a patron for that. Legitimately, like, imagine him live reacting to Jay doing a job for Cody Rhodes and just losing his shit. That would be unbelievable.
Oh my God! Just imagine him being like, Now, do y'all hear the crowd right now? It wasn't this loud earlier. Hey, I'm
he
not
starts
saying
burying the boys.
he's watching tonight's Raw, and he's like, I'm not attacking Becky Lynch, but were they making this noise for her match against Bayley? Were they doing the yeet, motherfucking yeet? He's gonna. Oh, it'd be incredible.
It has to do it. Someone send
Join
this
a
to him.
Twitter space of mine.
He should join Worldwide right now.
Yeah.
Dylan says Joe Hulbert of Tony Bradley FC. Dude, I lost my shit. I didn't realize. I've not watched the playoffs at all. Tony Bradley showing up in the finals was like seeing a ghost. It was unbelievable.
I saw your tweet and I saw him and I was like, who the fuck
Yeah.
is he?
Yeah, they just like unfair. I think he got a 10-day contract in March and he ended up playing in the finals.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Hush brings an interesting point here. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. Hush says Punk Cena feud is so much better than Punk Seth. Oh, glad Cena went with the real two-faced route with Punk and not the boring you said there to be bad hypocrisy. That's an interesting one. And you seem very excited to have the chance to bury the alternative. So go for it,
You set me up there. I'll just say this. This is kind of what I mean when I said in my post, Cena did the first effective dismantling of CM Punk. Because if you want to actually dismantle CM Punk, doing it by going, you were out there on podcasts talking about us, burying us, talking about how you wanted this place to die. Well, that's not gonna happen, and we didn't die, and I kept the thing afloat. It's like that's what's up, my guy. You know, like I gotta
be honest, bro. Your Rollins is not strong. Not strong.
I thought that was pretty good.
No, we're not good at all. I'm sorry to tell you.
Chat. Was that a decent Seth?
No, chat. Be honest with him. Oh shit! Immediate compliment. Yeah, all right, now we have a debate.
I'm telling you, chat. Let me know. I thought that was.
I don't think it was there, man. I don't think it was there at all.
I thought that's like his yelling voice, you know, where he's just like, you know, I fight for this place. I built this place, you know. Oh, fuck you guys, you know.
Some people liked it. All right. Do you have anything on this comparison?
John Cena's approach is certainly more interesting, even though it's more damaging potentially. But because the WWE fans in the crowd, Joe, when Seth hilariously, WWE fans in the crowd love WWE, right? But they don't have the reaction of, like for example, they don't chant WWE after a dive. You know what I mean?
God, I wish they did. That would be spectacular. That would change the Gaz's whole run, bro.
WWE. Yeah. So like when Seth goes like, you shat on WWE, the fans like, we don't fucking care, dude. Like we don't care, you know. Whereas like it's not like in AEW when someone goes like, you hate this place, and they're like, yeah, fuck, get him. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just different. So yeah, Cena's material is more interesting. Thank you, Hush.
I will say, and I know there's circumstances he got hurt. If you'd have told me in November 2023, CM Punk would be feuding with Seth Rollins in some form or fashion in June 2025, I'd have been quite alarmed. I'm going to be honest with you. Quite alarmed. But, you know, things have happened and such. I'm sure it's been good. Thank you, Hush.
I've enjoyed the angles and the tag matches.
That's fair enough. Ray says, I know it's not going to happen, but I need the chaos of Cody getting pinned tonight. # 4 letters, 1 word.
Just
pins him with a spear.
The thing is, like, I feel like I'm not gonna say it's happening. I wouldn't put it past them to just do some weird ass shit like that. But why?
No, they won't, because then it would be Randy and Jade. That's not the match. Come on.
Why would you do that? Why? What the fuck?
How many bumps would Randy take against Jay?
Randy would not work hard in that match.
Do you think they would just pose back and forth? That would be pretty good, actually.
They just trading corner punches and then
Sounds good. No, that's not happening. As funny as it would be. Anyway, do the 4 letters, 1 word thing for Ray, please.
4 letters, 1 word. Yay!
All right, so yesterday was the first time
you heard it.
I saw it because I thought you were just messing around, and then I saw it. He actually does that sound you make in between the words. Yeah, he actually does that. Huh?
Yes,
pretty good, man.
It's kind of sick, isn't it? Admit it, Joe. It's kind of hard.
It was a kind of double pop for me because firstly, awesome. Secondly, that is exactly what you do. I was very impressed. Very impressed.
Yeah, bro. It's so funny now, Joe, because Jay forgets all his written promos on TV. You know, I know you don't watch the TV closely. He doesn't remember anything he's supposed to say ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Nor should he.
What do you say?
Nor should he.
Right. Just imagine some jack off handing him like a fucking like piece of paper, like, and then you talk about like, you know, inextricably.
Yeet, bro. You know what do they want from him? Fuck.
He's reading it. He says, inextricably, I lost last week, and then I did that. He's like, oh, suck my dick. You know what I mean? So yeah. So now, Joe, he goes on TV, and you literally see him Joe pausing, and he'll just be like, I faced you last week, and he does that pause, like, say, you know what I mean? He's like, I'm gonna face you again this week, and we're gonna go toe to toe, and I'm gonna beat your ass this week. 4 letters, 1 word. Yay! It's like, what the fuck?
Dude, could you imagine 86 David Crockett calling Jey Uso matches, just losing his mind about the word yeet?
Monty makes a funny point. He says, my favorite thing Jay does is when he puts his hand up to stop the yeet between the sentence. Yeah, see, Joe, now, so, all right, I asked the creative, right? You want to know the official explanation for why it is 4 letters, 1 word?
Please tell me.
It's to stop the yeets in between his sentences and promos. In his mind, it's like, all right, guys, no more doing that. I'm going to just cut my promo, and then at the end, we all do this together.
Old wrestling is amazing, and
it's so hilarious. Just imagine him sitting in a circle thinking about this.
Jay just sitting at home, just pondering the way to get to stop them saying yeet after he's
Joe, Bruce in the corner halfway through his fucking bagel, you know, going like, you say it at the fucking end. That's how you do it. And then you have a go home line, you know.
The bagel was unnecessary.
Regal's like, what about 4 letters, 1 word? And Jay's like, 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. And you know, Hunter's like, you need something in between, something catchy, you know, like 2 syllables. And Jay's like, all right, 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. And fucking, you know, what's that guy's name? Shane. I was like, that's good. Just do the you know. They just that's probably.
I didn't appreciate the tone of that. What's that guy's name? I gotta be honest. I didn't appreciate the tone of that.
I love you, Shane.
He's awesome. Thank you, Ray.
He's like one of the 2 liberals in Gorilla. But anyway,
on Showdown Spurs says. Fuck. Look at this super chat after what we just did, Ebro. Look at this. You read this. Look at this. Come on. We're doing these jokes here. Come on, you take
right. What do you want from me, man? God damn. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Who's going to sponsor the Cena Bunk match? I'm thinking, like, well, maybe Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman. Offer more to TK. All right, there you go.
Yeah. Thank you, Shy Towns. We appreciate it.
You got your pop, Shy Town. You couldn't have timed that better without even intending to.
Godly. Just amazing.
Fuck. It's Luger says, Jade Cargill said Roxanne has potential. Wait, what? Thoughts? Do we agree or not? I think she needs to win a single star NXT so we really find out. Is this a bit?
Probably a half bit, but I think he's poking fun at the fact that Jade is talking as if she's like in a superior position to Roxanne.
A bit. Yeah, a bit. Yeah. Yeah, I like Roxanne.
I do too. Before we get to the next super chat, Joe, because I don't know how to transition this. New Japan signed an Olympian.
Yeah, he looked cool, didn't he?
Yeah, did you see this news?
Yeah, I was excited about it. I was actually quite concerned when I went to bed because
they
announced the press run like 2 hours notice, and I was quite convinced someone had died, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna keep it a stack, Joe. I was like, who has cancer?
I was like, this sounds like we're being silly. I was legitimately concerned as I went to bed.
Yes.
The first thing I did was look at what the news was.
Yeah. But thankfully, no, they're just signing a judoka, an Olympian, Aaron Wolf.
Yeah.
And
very based.
Yeah, a lot of like newer fans or people who I guess I don't want to sound condescending, but like I feel like people that don't know wouldn't realize that like this used to be New Japan's bread and butter, Joe. Just signing like real world top line athletes. And the lack of recruitment of guys like that into dojos has hurt Japanese wrestling in the last half decade, in my opinion. And we've had conversations about this.
We have, yeah.
Yeah. So seeing just like this big badass dude come in, it's sick. I was telling Nao, I said, I hope he either gets on steroids or gets really fat. One or the other, you know.
Yeah, no middle ground there.
No. Steroids or obesity. And the other thing is, look, New Japan has gotten way too Western and way too stable heavy, but specifically stables in the sense of like heel bullshit and cheating, like the House of Torture garbage. It's really bad now. And I just want New Japan to get back to basics. in the sense, like I don't give a fuck, Joe. If they all go back to black trunks, I'll cry tears of joy. You know?
All right, let's take it easy.
Let's do it. And so my point is, do something effective, do something ballsy with your new guy. Because I was telling AO also, like, man, it's hard to get excited for Wolf with the knowledge that like you're not going to see him for like 3 years. But then they said he's going to debut in January 4th, so that's pretty cool. They've probably been training him already for a little bit. Man, make a splash. Let him fucking. I tweeted this. Let him sit at like Power Struggle, right? And you do a thing where like House of Torture are doing their normal bullshit, and you have like Show or someone run into him and shove him. Let him just fucking jump the guardrail and like judo throw everybody.
Yeah,
you know, like, the whole fucking group. And you know what I mean? Like, just like do something emphatic with that. But
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it being January 4th for the debut is a pretty good sign, right?
It is. It is. Hopefully, it looks good. And again, this direction is what I want out of New Japan. It's a sign of back to basics. So maybe nature is healing.
It's encouraging. Black Yakuzu says the irony of current Punk haters / Cena fans probably used to be Punk fans and Cena haters. 2025 is a very funny year. I think Punk turns heel before WrestleMania 42. I tend to agree regarding the latter.
Yeah, I think the main event next year is Night 2 Cody and Punk, and Cody will absolutely not be a heel for that, so Punk will be the bad guy for it. I don't think they do face for that.
Yeah, and I think that could have long-term ramifications because I think Punk still feels there's a lot of value in his run as a babyface. That's purely just a guess, but I think that could be something to monitor.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a real top guy, the merchandise and all that stuff that comes with being a babyface is important to them, dude.
Joe, I'll put it to you this way. Randy Orton very much is like, don't turn me.
Yeah.
Do not turn me right now.
It's tough, dude. Bad Wrong says generally the women care as much about as the top men do about politicking wins and losses.
They don't have the opportunity to even be vocal about this kind of thing, unfortunately.
No.
There's nobody in this division. Well, I won't say nobody.
No. There's a couple people.
Yeah, actually, I thought about
and they'll be clear, we're not bearing they're right for doing that.
They're right for doing it, and their creative is good as a result of it. But like a lot of the women, I'll put it to you this way, chat. Very rarely is someone getting the sheet or the rundown for TV, right? And on it, it'll say like under and over on the sheet. Very few of them are looking at that and going, "What?
Yeah,
I'm losing to this. Piper Niven is pinning me today."
Yeah.
Well, go fuck yourself. I'm not doing it. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And again, look, the names we're talking about, I'm not trying to be cryptic about it. It's very obvious if you watch the TV, you can tell Becky Lynch has a great deal of control over creative to the benefit of Raw and the division and Lyra Valkyrie and her. This is why we don't have to be critical about it. This is a compliment to them. You know, Eva and I were joking on Friday. We said the best two things in the division booked right now, one much more so than the other, but it's Becky's Lyra thing and Charlotte doing her own arc, both of which are booked by the people involved in it. There's a reason for that. You have to take it in your own hands because look what they do if you leave it to the hands of Bruce Pritchard and Co. You get nothing,
And this might be an indictment, Joe. Based on last week's promo, Becky and Bayley's promo last week may have been the most and it wasn't even like the Da Vinci Code, but like it may be the most depth in a Bayley segment ever in her entire life. She's been wrestling in WWE for like a decade. What the fuck,
dude? You put
creative negligence. What? You've been in this company for 12 fucking years, and like you spent it doing Ding Dong Hello and You Idiots and Michael Cole and you know what I mean? Like, dude,
I'm telling you, they've barely scratched the surface is an understatement in terms of what they've actually got out of that division.
Yeah.
You mentioned on Friday, I think you replied it to Cal. Like Cal asked what you think of the Charlotte Alex stuff, and you were like, it stands out because it actually is a story rather than just being like auto booker. Because everything on SmackDown even more so, right? SmackDown's like It literally feels like 20 minutes before TV. They go right. Who can Tiffany do a live promo this week where she says Tiffy time? Like it's so cookie cutter and just bland. There's no creativity, no surprise.
Chad GPT.
Yeah, totally. Yes. So it's a shame. You know, hopefully in a few years it should be this way already. But wrestling's so deeply entrenched in misogyny, quite frankly, that it's going to take a bit. But you know, hopefully we get to a point where the power has changed, and also there needs to be female voices in career. Anyway, we're going off track. But let's be honest, that is a big part of it too. It's
100%.
There's a real issue in that regard. There's not enough female voices in the room.
This is the other actual reason why Liv's injury fucking sucks is that she's one of the only few people that like the writing team were like writing for.
Excited to write for, yeah.
They were excited to write for her. They had a million ideas for her, and that's why they just did every single one of them on the show every week. And you get the segment where she has tension with Roxanne, and then she also would talk to Raquel and say, "You need to straighten up and help me with blah 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 blah." And then she'd have the thing with Finn Balor, and then she'd have a thing with Io Sky, and then Nikki. Like they liked writing for her. That's a creative attention that doesn't go to Zelina Vega, for example, who is having the most nothing reign of all time, and will drop her championship on Friday.
Let me be clear. I don't think Zelina Vega needs to be the US champion.
No.
I'm not even saying she needs to be a push singles wrestler. I'm not even sure I'd use her as a singles wrestler in that way. But like the people that are involved in the creative process of SmackDown should legitimately be ashamed of how little they tried. Like, why even bother? Like why even bother do the Zelina Vega thing if you have no interest in making it work? It's just pointless. Waste of everyone's time. She's gonna leave it no more over than she entered it. Just a complete waste of everyone's time. It's true, dude. It's and the thing is, for a fact they're going to sit back and go, "Well, she didn't get over it." It's like, yeah, she didn't get over because she didn't play to her strengths at all. You gave her nothing to do. Of course, she didn't get over. Self-fulfilling prophecy. So often, it's stupid.
And it won't happen to her, thankfully. But like, there could have been a situation where they look at that and go, like, "Well, we'll just cut her in September," and like we were justified because it didn't work. And it's like, she fought fucking like the same 3 people every week,
Right, and it's like, I get it. She's just a transitional champ to Julia, who they want to use. They should, but here's the thing: if you get her over as a transitional champion, you can then use her down the line to get someone else over. If she's leaving this with no cred, dude, she's not going to be of any use to you as a featured singles player after this. So it's like you've just wasted your time.
No higher on the card either.
No, it drives me nuts. It isn't about Zelina; it's about what was the point of it. Like, oh fuck. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, thank you.
It drives me nuts, dude.
It's insane.
It's pointless.
Who in the room? Is there no one in the room going like, guys, what did we achieve with that?
Right. Zelina's skill set is like she can talk, and they've had her talk not one bit on TV.
Like, here's an example. Just an example of like solid undercard women shit on SmackDown is last year. There was a stretch, Joe, where Michin kind of found a lane on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Doing stuff with like Nia and or Chelsea.
Yeah.
And like that kind of worked. And like it was fine and decent. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like as an example of like undercard fare that doesn't like fucking suck and like actually like adds to the show a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is undercard fare that accomplishes nothing for nobody and wastes everyone's time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, it sucks. Thank you for the super chat, Bedroom. We didn't really answer it, but we did other things. Thank you.
Right. Oh no.
What have we got next here? Have we lost? Oh, we might have lost the big man. We might have lost him. All right. No, he's back. We're fearful of a technical difficulty, folks, but we're here. Solo Monster's friend says Asuka is legendary, but I don't think she meshes that well with power wrestlers. Even her matches, Bianca and Rhea, were fine, but underdelivered. It's an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's actually there's a correlation there so much as it's just the way things have worked out. It's an interesting point though. I haven't got any like strong disagreement with it,
No, I don't either. I think Asuka was still Asuka until her at some point in 2022. I think the last match she looked like Asuka was. Do you remember at Hell in a Cell 2022? There was a 3-way with her, Becky, and Bianca.
Yeah, great match.
Yeah, awesome match. One of the 2 good matches on that show. The other one was Cody and Seth. But yeah. And then I remember like notably, there was a noticeable dip in 2023 when she came back with the face paint and like physically kind of showed. But yeah, right now she's in a place where they just have to be careful with her matchmaking. Is the bottom line. And look. Yeah. You can be productive and contribute to the show while being diminished. It's fine. She's like in her 40s and she's gone through a lot physically and torn her knee up and shit. So you just got to be aware of that and aware of not putting her in bad positions.
Right. And we should know she's looked sharp so far. We're excited. It's great to have Asuka back. She's a legend. So
yes.
I wish she looked good on Friday and like they had a little bump in the road in that match, but it was otherwise pretty smooth sailing, So
yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Ryan says, no expecting one other human to have seen it, but nice to see that someone in NXT hit the ropes of aggression. Harlem Lewis, an actual aggressive Italian.
What?
He's saying that Harlem Lewis runs the ropes well.
Who is Harlem Lewis?
Oh, he's a hell of a hand.
Well, good for Harlem Lewis.
He's got a hell of an ups. He did lead with, I'm not expecting anyone else to have seen this. So you can't argue with that, really.
This is why Ryan rocks, because he'll pop in and be
sometimes. The Asuka Alexa thing was aggressive. The Julia Alexa thing was aggressive on Friday. Very aggressive.
Ryan does this thing. I'll get off work on a Tuesday, Joe, and I'm getting ready to just throw a taquito in the air fryer. You know what I mean? And fire up like Nalio Gala matches or some shit. And then I'll tweet like, hey, I'm home. And then he'll be like, hey, man, did you watch Channing Stacks Lorenzo versus, God, give me another, like Eddie Thorpe or something, Yeah. I'm like, no, I didn't, Ryan. And I'm like, you should check that out. I'm like, well, thank you, Ryan.
As long as you're enjoying what you're watching, it works for me. Thank you, Ryan.
I agree. We appreciate
I mean that too.
Genuinely,
that's the way I see it, yeah. Ibu Mania's back. I can also see WWE getting Zeus bringing back La Catalina. Yeah. Close there. I stumbled. You see the way I steadied the ship there? That's why I've been doing this for a long time, but it's not been good tonight. I've been in good form, haven't I? Tried my best.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I thought the show quality was going to totally dip when Anna left, but we've been okay.
I agree. I feel like we're about to fuck it up, though. He says also, if the Jamie Hayter Thekla feud was dropped, I could see Jamie being done in AEW. It was an injury situation, right?
Yes. Yeah, she's hurt. That's all that was.
Yeah.
But I see them hitting up La Catalina. Well, she's an attractive woman that's very good at wrestling. So, yes, I could. Do I see her going for it? I mean, listen, she's a wrestler like most wrestlers. She's probably going to look at that and then turn around and look at, hey, would you guys like to give me money to stay in CMLL and do some AEW? And then we go from there. So we shall see.
She did have a crazy run, it's fair to say. So,
it's fucking insane.
It's always hard to figure out. Thank you, Ibu Mania, I suppose.
Actually, I just remembered she re-signed with the CMLL for 3 years.
Right, but how do I put this? How do we feel about those contracts being sort of,
If you want to get out of that, you can get out of that. Right.
Maz says, do you think Fatu beats Solo at Night Champions? They do another match where Fatu is not the US champion.
Fuck.
I honestly think this is a one and done.
I'll tell you what. This felt like even Levesque going, all right, guys, even I have some pride here. You know what I mean? Like,
the only way it's not
is
if the finish. Yeah, if the finish is Hikuleo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, let's be clear, and I like Solo Sikoa. I've been consistent on liking Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa, JC Mateo, and Hikuleo you're not making the playoffs, right? You got at some point you have to draw the line somewhere. This is the line. You've met it. Just draw it.
I do wonder how like Bloodline FC feels right now, because
it's tough.
Here's the thing: it's one thing to just like be like on your last legs, but now it's like even like the creative enthusiasm has abandoned like that. Like so, like when I thought their shit sucked like a year ago, right? At least like you knew for a fact Paul Heyman was at TV helping them out, and like, you knew Hunter still like backed them institutionally. You know what I mean? Here it feels like, Joe, like a father has turned around and turned their back and gone like, good luck. You know what I mean?
It's the most 2025. Nothing ends anymore. Everything just goes on until no one could play. Dude, they've not even tried with JC Mateo. Like, not even an attempt to make him matter. Just immediately conceded. Like, they saw him in a t-shirt and went, fuck it, it's over. Get ready. It's bonkers, bro. It's insane.
Because like God worked hilariously.
Well, Tama was really good, and in fact, the further we get removed from Tama, the more I appreciate how good he was on TV. Actually.
I agree, because like when you think about it, Joe, like when Tama came in, most people were like, "LOL," you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but like he was so good that like he was able to just be a one-man rising tide for his brother.
Like, yeah, he was really good. His energy was tremendous.
Yeah,
quite frankly, and there are a lot of things Jeff Cobb is better than Tama Tonga.
He was.
There are a lot of intangibles that Tama brings to TV that have not been present with Jeff so far. It has to be said. The energy being chief among them. Jesus
great. I will admit, like, it was fun to just watch him behind Solo all animated and going like, yeah, and all that shit, and like the body language as he's walking out and stuff. Now that I really think about it, he brought a lot of color and energy on screen when he was just with those guys.
Yeah,
Jason kind of just like walks out with a black shirt, and just.
Been a strange run. It feels like one of those ones that's going to be like a What Culture video at the minute.
It feels so 99.
Yeah. It
right, doesn't it?
Does.
Right? It's so like Bulldog back to WWF. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so 99. Like,
which is sick. I'm not even a big Cobb guy, but he's not like that hard to book, which makes it more spooky, to be honest.
It's like when you scroll, you know, when you ever scroll through a wrestler's Wikipedia page and it has like their runs and stuff, and like it'll say like WWE, and like in the brackets it only says 2025.
Yeah, there's a few things on TV that I like. I watch them and kind of go, I'm not sure this is going to, you know, the great historical coverage it's looking for. I'll be honest with you. I was watching that Guns match last week going, I'm not so sure about this, you know. It's a shame. It was hard not to, and enough about that. Thank you, Maz. Thank you. Okay. Van Jimenez says, is Drew McIntyre coming back in the summer? He was looking sus in those few SmackDown matches. Not sure why he wrestled so often on TV anyway at his age.
I have no idea. He's not feeling great. And I think the biggest sign of his physical decline was compare the Sammy matches he had at the start of this year, I think it was, compared to like a year prior. Like, do you remember, Joe, last year they had a series of matches, and then this year they had another series of matches. The ones this year were nowhere near as good as the ones last year, which were like 4-star adjacent on television.
Yeah. I hope he's okay, legitimately.
Yes.
It's pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
Shredtown Spurs says there's a universe out there somewhere where Sami Zayn and Mark Briscoe are involved in a program together in 2025. Alas, this is not the way. Dude, they're in the same category to me, and they're two of the best pro wrestlers on TV right now. Amazing.
Point blank, period. I posted my match ratings, Joe, which unfortunately kills the bit that we could have done this week.
Yes, it does. We're short on time. It's fine.
You're right. But people were like, damn, like, you think Sami Zayn is better than Hologram? And I'm like,
oh, for fuck's sakes. That's just all right.
I'm like, yeah.
Like Yakuzu says, how do you guys
with you?
Fuck, yes. Man. We can't have anything.
Yes, Joe,
Hologram's awesome. Why does it have to fuck?
Yeah, Joe, I got DM this. I was like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? Can't it just be Hologram's awesome about him being better than Sami Zayn? Why does it always be life and death in this?
Right, like Jesus fuck.
He's awesome. Anyway, Blake Yakuzu says, how do you guys feel about Moxley Machine Guns place in WWE in light of Sean Ross Sapp's report about their potential AEW credible negotiations went cold? So here's the thing. I don't know the situation of like contractually what was offered, and it's very hard to comment on what decision they did or didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what was offered to them ultimately.
I'm glad they didn't go to AEW for various reasons.
Well, here's what I'll say. I was always doubtful of the fit on the main roster, and I do think that has been apparent. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing that worried me about the Guns in WWE is they had gotten into a rhythm with the act in TNA where it had become very dry, which is not where it was 15 years ago, where they were very fun.
And they've carried that over, yeah.
And it works if you have reverence for them, which, let's be honest, AEW audiences would have had more so than WWE ones. Mm-hmm. If you've never seen their previous stuff and you've just met them on SmackDown, I don't really know like what your... Well, they're good wrestlers. I don't know what you would have, what attachment you'd have to. They're very dry on TV. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't go to AEW, though, because here's the thing. They can't go through the gears. They just have competent, well-worked professional matches. And I do think that, like, that would have been apparent on a Collision pretty early on. And Tony would have took notice of that and then lost interest in them creatively. And then you'd have this unending, annoying cycle of where are the guns? Why are the guns not being used? Why are the guns not being in title matches? And it was just this really annoying on and off cycle about these guys who, relatively speaking, have already beaten the game and are just kind of hanging out now for the remainder of their career.
Yeah, I get it. I also get that if you're a Guns fan, being kind of like, oh, I don't know. You know, I see both sides of that. I mean, they're legends and like they do what they want ultimately, but they're not in a great spot right now. We have to be honest. It's not a great spot.
No, at least they had the ladder match though. The SmackDown ladder that was
right.
They were part of that, and that was like really, really strong.
Yeah, thank you. Blake Yakuzu. Hush says, I'm sorry, I need the Cross Sammy match too bad. I got a week's worth of Cross good and clips of Cross clearly getting carried.
I gotta say, man, that whole like we're gonna post their pops on main event thing is really annoying. I gotta be honest with you. It's really, really annoying.
Man, dude. They're the first people through the curtain. It drives me nuts. Danny says, to add to Hush's super chat about the Punk Seth feud, in my opinion, the Punk Seth feud started to fall apart once Seth said Punk left him on read. I didn't even see this. This sounds amazing. Fuck.
I think it was a sit-down interview with Jackie Joe. Well, that basically was just like CM Punk hurt my feelings, and he left me on red when I texted him after he quit.
Well, that take from Danny makes sense. Thank you, Danny. Love Dog says, do you guys think Triple H watches WrestlePurists and which wrestling YouTubers You think he really respects? I don't think he watches. No, I think he reads stuff on Twitter. He doesn't watch this stuff. No way.
No, there are people in WWE that have watched WrestlePurists, but Triple H I'd out as one of them.
But it has to be said, people in wrestling, the percent, like the crossover between reads some takes on Twitter and actually watches content is like very low. I think it's fair to say in the grand scheme of things.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Sway says every night before I go to bed, I pray Statlander and Mello get better booking. Better booking. But at this point, I'm being punished. Oh, there you go. Do the you thing again.
I have a headache. I can't yell now. Just do your best.
Fuck no, I'm not doing that deal. That'd be clipped forever. Anyway, the Yeet deal. Anything
letters,
on
one word.
That was spirited. Anything on Statlander and Mello's booking? No, probably not. Right?
No.
Statlander, clearly there's some sort of plan with the Death Riders. Whether it'll be good or not is a different matter. I think Mello's kind of slotted right now on SmackDown. We'll see if something changes if they move them across brands. Because they're doing a draft soon, right?
Yeah.
Grant says thoughts on this Austin return business Sean mentioned. Also, Taker's absolutely going to push for Gunny to have a Roman title once he joins creative. Anything on the Austin thing?
Not really. I love Steve Austin. I thought his match with Kevin Owens was a miracle and fucking awesome. And I hope the next time he wrestles, if he does wrestle, is an opportunity to do something similar where he works a really versatile, talented guy that can have a match like that with him. Punk wants to wrestle him, so we'll see what happens there. Hope whatever it is it's cool and not embarrassing. Taker's going to push for Gunny, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm not convinced Austin does it. He's very particular, but we'll see. Chicken98 says not to rank impressions, but Bruce Pritchard pops me every time. I can't lie. Hope you guys have a good rest day. Thank you very much. And the Pritchard, because you can immediately visualize him, can't you?
My thing is, Hunter, do we have to have Io Sky on the show? That's all I'm asking.
I know we're short on time. Can you give me a Pritchard impression of him putting together the Charlotte Alexa angle on Friday?
Oh my god! Now, Hunter, you know they're the only two girls that are over. They don't give a fuck about Julia.
The best part about this bit is Hunter being at SmackDown.
That's a good point. Yeah. Another story for another day.
Let's move to the next. Aiton says he reports on the CMLL women's matches from Tuesday. I also thought Don Callis family vs. Guerreros and Los Infernales was the best multi-man match from this year.
Joe, did you see Dave Meltzer's match ratings for the women's matches for the CMLL shows?
I did not, no.
I'm going to just read those rather than answer this question directly.
Okay.
All right. Let's pull this up.
Okay. In the meantime, folks, we're winding down here. We appreciate everyone who's joined us. Like the video. He was about Ruby Star ratings.
Joe is such a pro. You know, he's like, how do I fill these 10 seconds?
I've been good tonight. I've been good tonight, folks. Here's what it is. Happens sometimes.
Pop off. Talk your shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go, girl. CMLL Martes Populares. 8.4 age match. All right, so here we go. Dave Meltzer gave numerous matches on this show above 4 stars. Persephone versus Red Velvet was not one of them. I want you to guess what Dave gave this match, Joe.
2.25.
1.5.
Oh, fuck. I swear someone told me it was good. I swear. What did Cage Match give it, do you know?
5.37.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Cage Match was like, and then Dave was like, fuck it. Let it die. Kill it, you know?
Fuck it.
Fuck it. Let it die. What did he give the women's matches on Dynamite? Oh, there was only one of them. Sorry. Wow. Joe, what do you think he gave Mercedes Zooxies?
3.5.
2 3/4.
He doesn't even rate TV matches under 3.5, does he? I guess he calls it a special. So.
Yeah, it's a special.
I thought that match was sick, dude. Whatever it's worth. That match was knockdown, drag out. Mercedes and Zooxies.
Joe, he gave Okada Mark Briscoe 3.5.
Disappointing. Thank you, Peyton. Very disappointing, man.
How golly would it have been if he went 4 on that one?
Bro, he ain't watched an Okada match in at least 6 months. Let's be real. Just rate some moves on his life, like an adult, like I do.
The funniest thing is, Dave clearly doesn't watch Raw, and like Brian will just say what happened, and Dave kind of goes, and then somehow magically on the Observer that week, like certain matches have 3 1/4 or 3 3/3, and you're like, you didn't watch.
Yeah, All right, folks, we're in a final batch of super chats. By that I mean we have 15. No. Solomon Monster's friend says, take. Obafemi is definitely a better prospect than Bron was. There you go. If we do something like that. They're both great prospects, in all seriousness.
Yeah, yeah.
Oba's a bit taller, isn't he?
Yes.
Key, pivotal. Darren says, Bozilla in Stardom. Do you think we see her in AEW?
Perhaps. Her going to Stardom is an awesome career move, though. Instead of just rushing to get some American dollars when you're like halfway cooked, so to speak, she's going to another place where she can continue to just grow as a talent. And Joshi scenes need women that look like her. So I think it's awesome, and I will watch her matches. I watched the show that she was on. It's the same show that Sari won the IWGP Women's Championship, and I just would like to say congratulations to her. And anything Sari does makes me interested. And anytime Sari's on a show, I will watch the show because of Sari. She's excellent, and her match with Sari was very good, and you guys should watch it.
You're one of the best wrestlers in the world, for sure.
Yes.
Matthew says, will WWE expand to Japan this year or next?
No.
Yo-Yo says, when do we see Punk Roman Seth Braun? Is it Paris, maybe?
You're looking at August.
So maybe Paris. Matthew's back. Any Japanese talent you see WWE signing this year?
They aren't eyeing anyone in particular right now. They were like 2 years ago.
Blake Yakuza, always bet on nothing, baby. I hate the US.
Yeah, we suck.
Favorite Usos matches. Mine is WrestleMania 39 and Profits Money in the Bank. The 2 out of 3 Falls match with Harper and Rowan is my favorite Usos match.
I watched that for the first time in Self-Made, and I was pretty fucking impressed. That match is really good.
Amazing. I still think it's their best match. The other candidate would be SummerSlam with the New Day and Hell in a Cell with the New Day.
Yep.
Thank you, Kim. They got a deeper catalog than people think. Parker's long lost son. Has anyone seen my papa?
He's retired, man. That's an old bit.
Ryan, Io Asuka is not a bad choice for SummerSlam. Certainly not. I'd love that to be a match.
Yeah.
I'd love that match. Hush says, did Tyrese mess with the dub or is he full fed?
He likes wrestling, man. He keeps an eye on things.
He probably has an awareness, but generally he watches WWE, right? It's just
yeah.
Haslow says, Guns update. Austin stated they're fine on Twitter. That was a strange deal, I have to say. That surprised me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just creative doesn't have anything for them at the moment.
Very strange situation. I have to be, because they seem to be infatuated with them when they weren't ready, and now they're much better. You know, it's very odd.
Yeah, now they're like actually good. Yeah,
they'd be really useful on TV, I think, right now. But
it'd help the
yeah, Lovedor says, do you know any plans for Psycho Clown?
WWE thinks he's good at wrestling, and they may sign him.
Wow, fascinating marriage that is.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, God, I forgot to I was gonna say this in the Discord. Oh, I'll give these guys this. It's nothing crazy. So AAA plans to turn Alberto babyface. Additionally, Santos Escobar is scheduled to challenge for the Mega Championship at a major show coming up. So there you go.
That was a wild 1-2 punch.
Yes.
Patrick the Heel says W Neon Shout. Yeah, he's pretty cool, dude. I see him wrestle Paul London.
Happy Pride Month.
Maps says, where is Dragon Lee?
I don't fucking know.
Tom, when is Big Hikuleo going to bless us and debut?
Tom Thibodeau. Hopefully not at Saudi.
Dude, Tristan's going in the chat. It's fucking.
What did Tristan say?
Look at the layers going in the chat. I'm crying, bro.
He said, nigga gave us no real.
He didn't even look up at his monitor when he heard that shit.
Bro, for better or for worse, it's notable if you like really think about it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Just pop me, sorry.
It's very funny.
We're through the super chats, bro. You got any final words for the people?
Do I have final words for the people? Not particularly, but stay safe, stay healthy, stay hydrated, and beyond the people, I just hope that all my close ones and friends and some family that currently reside in the Middle East stay safe. Sincerely. And I pray for a more peaceful and less insane world that we live in today. I hope we guys as in me, Joe, and Anna, I hope we provided you guys with some solid escapism for the 2 hours that we did our bullshit. So for Joe, I'm Ibu WrestlePurist. I'll be here tomorrow to talk about Monday Night Raw. And for tonight, though, I'm going to be getting out of here. So, guys, please like the video on the way out. Please leave a comment, hopefully a nice one. And have a good one. Take care. Goodbye.